Hi, and welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating podcast. My name is Kristen Jones, and thank you so much for joining me this week. So, this week's episode is a continuation of what I started to dive into last week, which is the workings, deeper workings of our brain. So, talking more about, we're going to be talking about the subconscious brain and the conscious brain, and really how to. Today, I'm going to really talk about how to start things that you can start doing at a conscious level to start working on reprogramming your subconscious brain, because the subconscious brain really is it runs you all. It runs everybody. It runs you, it runs me, it runs just every person's subconscious is the part of your brain that is making all the decisions, and they're making automatic decisions for you. We think that we have control over what we're doing. And in some cases we do, but in most cases we don't, because so many of the things that we do are automatic. And even when we know that they're probably not the best things for us to do, we do them anyway. And it's because they are automatic. They are deep in our subconscious, and our subconscious is the part of our brain that really does things based upon our history, based upon our beliefs, based upon our thoughts about ourselves and our feelings about ourselves. And so if we have moved through life and we have not felt good about ourselves, and we want to change that, and we're trying to make that change at a conscious level. Well, our conscious part of our brain only really is working about 5 to 7% of the day. We don't do that much with our conscious brain. What we really do is everything comes from our subconscious. And so we need to really understand how the subconscious works so we can start to get those two parts of our brain, the conscious and the subconscious, in alignment. So, one of the things that I do is for me personally, is I try to do as much research and as much learning as I can do, not only for so I can pass it on to you, but for myself as well. I mean, I am a constant student. Most of you know, if you don't know, I used to be a teacher. And so I'm obviously very into learning and always growing, and always aspiring to learn new things and be able to share them with other people. But it's also for my own personal knowledge, because I'm on the same journey that all of you are on. I am no different than anybody else. I might just be maybe a couple of steps ahead, but I'm always going to be an emotional eater. I'm always going to have that issue. I'm always going to have issues with food. They're so much different and so minor compared to the way they used to be, but I always have to be working on it. So I'm always striving to learn and to grow, and to then be able to pass that on to all of you. And so I am actually taking a course right now, and I have learned quite a bit. And the course is specifically about the conscious and the subconscious brain, and how we go about making changes. And so it's inspired me to do a lot more education of myself as well. But one of the things that the person who created the course was talking about is, she was really talking about how we all have to kind of get our conscious brain and our subconscious brain on the same wavelength, on the same path, moving in the same direction, on the same page. Because, and a perfect example of that is, you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, okay, today's going to be a day. I am going to do my planner. I'm going to plan my meals. I'm going to eat exactly what's on it. And then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something happens and something goes sideways. And all of a sudden, all of that is out the window, and you are pulling through the drive-through, grabbing, food for 10, and it's just for you. And afterwards you think, well, what happened? Like, why did I have that great thought this morning? And I was so motivated, and I thought for sure I was going to do it. And then all of a sudden it was like I had no control over the decisions that I was making. And that's where the subconscious and the conscious brain are not in alignment, and they're in conflict, and they struggle when they're in conflict, and you will struggle when you're in conflict with that. So we have to try to get those two things to be working together. So because one of the things that I hear all the time, and I think it's well, it used to be something that was talked about all the time. I don't talk about it hardly ever, but not anymore. But I used to. But the whole idea of willpower, and just like, oh, holding on really tight, and I can do this. That's at the conscious level. That's your conscious brain making that decision of, I am going to do this. I am going to, set these goals for myself, and I am going to eat this certain way. And that's at a conscious level. That's your conscious brain making that decision. I will tell you that when your conscious brain and your subconscious brain are in battle, the conscious brain is going to lose every single time. So that's why willpower is kind of a myth, and it's really not something that will really work for you. We really have to start getting that subconscious to really be in alignment and on the same page. So understanding how to harness the power of those two parts the two parts of your brain will allow you to be able to reach any goal that you want to reach, any kind of goal. So that, not just weight loss. We're not just talking about weight loss. We're not just talking about emotional eating, anything that you want to do. If you can get those two parts of your brain in alignment, and that's kind of what we're talking about now. So one of the things that is important to remember is that when you can get those two parts of your brain in alignment, the change won't be hard. Dieting is hard because dieting is a conscious decision. And your conscious brain is going, this is what we're going to do. And your subconscious is like, no, we're not. That's not what we're going to do at all. And the subconscious, again, is always going to be stronger. So when you can get those two things in alignment, you can get them working together, you're going to be able to have changing habits and starting to do things in a different way is going to become effortless. It's not going to be it's not going to be a struggle. And so if we can start to just make little movement in moving in that direction, we're going to be so much better. So that is really what we're going to talk about today. So how do we get that to happen? How do we start to move those two parts of our brain together to work as a unit? I have 5 things that I'm going to talk to you about. So 5 steps, 5 ways that you're going to be able to start to align your subconscious brain and your conscious brain. So I just have to be honest with you all. I have notes and I'm really having a hard time reading them. So I'm just going to read what I wrote on my notes because it's so much better than me trying to fake it. All right. So I'm going to read this. So it says, the subconscious mind will propel the conscious mind to change negative habits. The subconscious. So the subconscious is always the one that's going to be more powerful. The subconscious mind is going to propel the conscious mind to change negative habits, to end destructive eating patterns, and to adopt changes in behavior. But again, they have to be working as a team. So we've got to get because the subconscious is always stronger. So we've got to get that piece has got to be harnessed in. It will then result in the conscious brain, the one you're thinking with. That will be it will convince it that that's what it needs to do. But we have to get the subconscious on board. So our 5 things, 5 things that we can begin to do. The first thing, number 1, is and this is going to, for some of you, you're going to roll your eyes and go, I've heard this so many times. Well, it's still important. And I'm going to say it again. So one of the things that we have a tendency to take for granted and to just kind of like gloss over is your actual goal. So your brain, your subconscious specifically, as I said last week, works in images, works in pictures, and it likes detail. So you must be specific about what your goal is. Do not say, I want to lose weight. Okay, 1, totally vague. 2, I would really, and I'm catching myself a lot trying not to do this now. I would like everyone to make the effort to move away from saying lose weight and instead say release weight. Yes, it sounds a little woo-woo, but you know what? If we lose something, then we're going to try and find it. We don't want to find it. We want it gone forever. So we're going to release it. Be free. Go, wait, run away. Okay? So we are trying to now change and be more of, we're going to release weight. We're not going to lose weight because we don't want to find it again. So we're going to release weight. So I want everyone, if you're live in the group, if you're watching this on my personal profile right now, I want you to think about how much weight do you want to release? What size do you want to be? And when do you want to be that size by? All three of those things. So we really want to get specific. I want to lose this amount of weight. I want to be this size. And I want to do it by this date. So I'm going to ask, this is going to be like super public. Like this is going to be, we're going to make some determination. We're going to like put it out there because that's how your subconscious works. It needs definitive, this is what's going to happen. So how much weight do you want to lose? What size do you want to be? I'm not asking you to put your weight. I'm just saying, how much weight do you want to lose? How much weight do you want to lose? What size do you want to be? And by when do you want to do it? In the comments now. Okay, good times. So go ahead and jump on into that. And that's the first thing. So we have to be specific. Our subconscious works in specifics and details. So that's the first thing. What is your goal? Because so many times we're like, no, serious, really, really defined. So let's put them in the comments now. All right, number 2, or for the bilingual people in our group, dose. Dose. I'm not bilingual, but I'm pretending. Number 2, you must be really clear about why you want to lose weight. Now, you have to know your why and what's your why and all that. It's great. I think that's awesome. I think it's really important to know your whys, but I'm going to tell you that I think most people, and I'm not calling anybody out there a liar, but I'm going to say that most people don't really say why they really want to lose weight. Most people that I hear will talk about, I want to be healthier. What does that mean? What does it mean I want to be healthier? I don't know what that means. Like, let's be specific. I want to avoid type 2 diabetes. I want to bring my A1C down. I want to wake up in the morning and not feel like poo. I mean, whatever it is, but let's be specific. The one that I think most people try to avoid is, I want to look cute in clothes. Hey, y'all, there's nothing wrong looking cute in clothes. Okay. You want to wear shorts? I'm all for that. Let's do it. Let's all wear shorts. But be honest with yourself, because I think sometimes we're not truthful about what we want. And so like, we're not being true to ourselves. We're not being real. And y'all know I'm always going to be real. And so it's, if you want to lose weight because you want to wear cute clothes and you want to be walking down, you want to be going out for a run and you want someone to yell at you from a car. Okay. Cat calls are never really appropriate, but you know what? If you want that, who am I to judge? Let's be honest about it. If you want that, that's okay. But be honest with yourself about that. What is your why? If it's, we never want to be mean spirited, but if you want to kind of get back at somebody, we always want to do it for our own reasons, but it's being honest about what your reason is. And is that reason enough for you to be motivated to continue even when it gets challenging? So that's what we really have to start doing, is we have to start being honest with ourselves. What's the real reason why you want to lose weight? And nobody can make a judgment about that. People can, but who cares what they think? It's your why. Your why has to be personal to you. So be honest with yourself. And no, you don't have to put that in the comments. I'm not going to ask you to put your why in the comments, because for some people it's really personal, and that's okay. But just be honest with yourself. Because that's really, I think personally, that's where weight loss really starts, is with personal integrity and being honest with ourselves about what we really want. And sometimes I think that's a block that holds us back from getting what we want, because we're saying what's politically correct, but we're not saying what we really think and what we really feel. Be honest with yourselves. What is your why? Why do you really want to lose weight? And own it and be proud of it. Okay. All right. Number 3, you need to start to think, and I want to be really clear. I am going to ask you to look at your past, but I do not want you to stay in the past. Okay. So I'm going to preface this little disclaimer. We're going to the past, but we're not going to harp on that. What I want you to do is I want you to look back and think about what got you to this point, to where you are right now. What got you to this point? And acknowledge that. Okay, so this is what I've done. This is where I've been. This is where I am, or this is where I have been, and this is what's gotten me to feeling like I need to lose weight, feeling like I need to get my emotional eating under control, feeling like I need to get my binge eating under control. And just own that and say, this is where I've been. And now that's left behind. And now we need to look at, what are the changes that I am making from this point forward? And what do those changes look like? Because again, our subconscious deals in images. So what does that look like? It looks like me getting my behind up out of bed and going to an exercise class first thing in the morning, me getting out and going for a walk, me making sure that instead of having 4 pieces of pizza, I'm having 1.5 pieces of pizza, because we all like pizza. Well, maybe we all don't, but I know I do. But what am I doing? How am I living my life? What is it looking like for me to be that person who is, what am I doing? What am I doing to change what I've done in the past? And now what am I going to do moving forward? Because that's all we have. What we have is right now and what we want to be when we move forward. So what are the changes that you can visualize and see yourself doing moving forward to get you to that goal that you just talked about? So again, we look back and we see, okay, this is what I did in the past that clearly didn't work and got me to where I am. So now, how am I going to change that? What am I going to do to move forward? What are the changes that I'm going to make now moving forward? Because again, our present is taking us into our future. What changes do we need to make sure that that's moving in a positive direction? Okay. That was number 3. Forgot my trace. 3. All right. Now, number 4. In order to change any sort of thoughts or beliefs or feelings we have about ourselves or have about our lives, we have to first acknowledge and recognize and identify, what are the beliefs that we have that are not working for us, the beliefs that are destructive, the beliefs that are holding us back. We have to figure out, we have to identify, and again, own up to those beliefs. What are the beliefs that we have? And I know for me, sometimes it's really hard to put those things into words, because I want to pretend like they're really not there. And I want to pretend like they really don't affect me that much. Like, I'd love to say like, oh, I'm totally secure. Y'all, I had an insecure moment this morning, big time. And it happens, and it happens frequently. I have a lot of insecurities, and I have to own that. And I have to be okay with it with myself, that yeah, this happens. Yeah, those are core beliefs that I have that are not working for me. And I'm still doing them. So I've got to do this same thing. I've got to say, okay, what is one of those destructive core beliefs that I have that are not working for me right now? And I have to write them down. So that's what I want you to do. The next step, number 4, quattro. Number 4 is identifying and writing down all of the core destructive core beliefs that you have about your life and about yourself and about your eating and about your emotional eating and about your relationships or whatever it is, document them, write them down. Because we can't change something that we don't acknowledge. We can't change something that we don't know is a problem. And so we can pretend, but like we've got stuff going on that we don't even know about. Let's try to at least recognize the things that we do know about. And then, and then eventually you can get to those things that we're not really sure about. But we have to start identifying like, what is the problem? What is the destructive core belief that I have that is holding me back? So we have to identify it. So you got to write those down. Okay. So that's number 4 is you write down what those core beliefs are. Now, do we write them down and do we just read them every day? No, because we're just acknowledging them. Okay. Step number 5 is what we're going to do with them. So step number 5 is, and that's cinco, y'all, just so you know. That's so step number 5, cinco, for those following along, is now looking at that belief and phrasing that belief as a positive. Okay, changing it, flipping it, making it a positive. So, for example, if the belief is, I can never lose weight, if that is a belief, I can never lose weight and keep it off. I can never lose weight and keep it off. If that is a destructive core belief, we acknowledge that that is a destructive core belief that is not serving us. And then we change it and we flip it to, I lose weight and keep it off. But here's the little super secret hack and little trick that I want you to do that you're going to add on to the beginning of that. And that is, you are going to put ahead of the flipped core belief, you're going to put, I am the type of person who, fill in the blank. Okay. So whatever the destructive core belief is, you're going to flip it. And then ahead of it, you're going to write, I am the type of person who, so if the core belief was, I can never lose weight and keep it off, flip that to, I am the type of person who loses weight and keeps it off. That's it. So you take whatever your destructive core belief is, and you flip it and you put ahead of it, I am the type of person that, fill in the blank. Okay. Because we are trying again to reprogram and to put different messages and deliver different messages to our subconscious. So yes, you are. And it's even more valuable to say, I am the type of person, instead of just saying, I lose weight. You're now telling your subconscious, I am the type of person, I am that person. And your subconscious then will say, oh, if she's that type of person, then I'm going to make sure that the conscious brain is doing everything it needs to do to prove to her that, yes, in fact, she is that type of person. Because that's how the subconscious brain and the reticular activating system, which exists inside your subconscious brain, that's how they work. Your reticular activating system, a part of your brain, definitely looks at every message that you send and then tries to find proof to support it as the truth. So if you're saying, I'm the type of person who loses weight and keeps it off, it's going to say, okay, yeah, she is. Let's find all the pieces of proof and let's have the conscious part of our brain do all the things that will support that to make sure that that ends up being true. So it all works together. So again, you're taking that negative, you're flipping it, and then you're writing out, I am the type of person who, and then putting that new flipped subconscious belief. You write all of those out. And then I'm telling you all, you read it every day, multiple times a day. You read it once in the morning. You read it once before you go to bed. And you read and you reinforce with your brain, that these things are now your truth. They are now your reality because your subconscious brain does not know whether it's true or it's not true. If you're telling it, it's the truth. Because how many times have you told yourself a lie? How many times have you said, I don't look good in these jeans? And somebody's like, you look fantastic. And you're like, ah, terrible. Well, you keep saying that. That's what you're going to believe. So we have to really start consciously feeding that information to the subconscious. And that is through repetition and continuing to feed that information. Okay. So what have we learned today? Oh, we learned all sorts of things. So what have we learned? We have five ways that you can start the reprogramming process. First one, know your goal in detail. Details, details, details. Okay. What is your goal? Specific. No vagueness here. Number two, know your why and be honest about your why. Okay. Somebody wants to make a judgment. Somebody wants to say, well, that's kind of arrogant. Who cares? Who cares what anybody else thinks? This is your why. It's yours. It's personal. Own it. Be proud. Number three, look back at what got you to where you are. Just briefly look back and then say, okay, and what do we do moving forward? This is what we do moving forward. Here are the changes that I'm making. Here are all the changes. And you need, again, to be specific. Your subconscious deals in images and in details. Give it details. What are you going to do? How are you going to eat? How are you going to move? How are you going to act? What are the things you're going to do? Be specific. Okay. Number four, identify what the destructive core beliefs are that you have. Identify them and be okay with identifying them, because we can't change something if we don't recognize it and we don't acknowledge it. We acknowledge it, we own it, and then we take the last step. And the last step is to flip it to a positive and then put the words ahead. I am the type of person who, fill in the blank with the positive new subconscious belief. Okay. So those are our first steps. Those are the steps that I'm just going to give you today. And my recommendation would be you create that list, you create the type of person that you are becoming by doing that. And that becomes your reading, your bedtime reading before you go to bed, and your morning reading as soon as you wake up. That's when our brain is most open to suggestion, is right before going to bed. And then when you go to sleep, when you wake up in the morning. So we've got to feed that information day in, day out. We've got to keep repeating that. Okay. There you have it, y'all. Hope that was helpful. Hope that it gave you something to think about and exposed you to something a little bit different, more information about the subconscious and the conscious brain. And for everybody, just so you know, I think this is always helpful because I never knew this, that when people say the subconscious and the unconscious, they're talking about the same. So that's that unconscious and subconscious mean the same thing. Okay. Just some clarification. All right, y'all, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And next week, more information about that subconscious, more ways that you can do what you need to do to, again, take these steps to be able to start to process, again, reprogramming and changing those beliefs that just aren't working for you. We got to start doing it. We got to start committing to it. And we got to make it a priority, because we are a priority and we need to start taking care of ourselves. Okay. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.